Sewing sustainably and being environmentally friendly is a big topic in the sewing space and a lot of crafting space. Like, how can we be more green, more eco-friendly? And in part, it is inherently more eco-friendly because you are fighting the mass production and fast fashions. However, we can still take a lot of lessons from the make, do and mend movement. This room is utter chaos and probably will look different by the time this is out. At the moment, you're just propped on my table, leaning against something, hence my hunched posture. Kind of forgot I made this. So I made last year this jacket and I just didn't like the fit of it. It felt wrong on the sleeves. It felt too big. And so I stuffed it in a drawer and forgot about it. In fact, actually, I left it on my mannequin for a really long time. You might have seen it in the back of videos. I honestly can't remember. My parents came to visit and they asked me, like, what is that jacket? And I said, oh, I made it and I just didn't vibe with it once I made it. And, you know, that it's a risk, it happens. And I put it on and showed them what I meant. And they're like, you know what? That'd be perfect if you had shoulder pads. So I have shoulder pads. So that's the first mending. So I'm going to attach this shoulder pad with the flat side towards the sleeve head. That pin's marked to the centre. And I'm just going to attach it and sew it along here and then tack it in the centre here on the seam allowance. They're not the easiest things to sew. I'm just sewing them on with kind of like this whip stitch from the centre out so they're nice and centred. This is Harry's jumper. It's a Calvin Klein jumper, so it's quite a nice high quality jumper that my parents bought him many years ago. Harry had a cat named Merlin and Merlin liked to ride on your shoulders. And yeah, Merlin did make a hole in his jumper. So I am going to embroider a paw print in memory of Merlin on the shoulder so Harry can start wearing his jumper again. I don't think there's any more holes, but I will inspect. Don't really know how I'm going to film this, so enjoy some really weird lighting and camera angles and probably a huge transition in time because this is January right now and I don't think this is going to come out for a while and embroidery is slow, so it could be many different seasons in this video. This was half done when I started yesterday, so my first stint was half the paw pad and then I finished the paw pad and started on this toe bean here. I'm going to finish this toe bean and do these two because I don't like the shape of that one, so I want all the others done and then I'm going to cut the guide white thread out of that one and then redo it. Yeah, it looks even more derpy from this angle. So this is my little paw print, but this one's going to change. So I woke up in a bit of a weird mood and it was weird because usually as a sewer, we don't like mending things. We love creating things from scratch, but mending things, it's just so much effort. And yeah, sometimes it's because you've got to undo work to do it. But today I woke up and I fancied mending things. Now, it's been some time since I filmed something for this particular video. I'm filming like 6 videos at once at the moment, so I'm struggling to keep track, but clearly I'm in a different space from the last one. Might as well start with this one because I have it here. This is my husband's my brain is completely blanked on this word. Apron, cooking apron. But yeah, what's happened is this pocket has a little hole in it. I think the best way to repair it, where it be like invisible, take off the pleather, sew along here, get this sewn down, and then move it up ever so slightly. and then sew it down again. Oh goodness gracious. I need to change needles, I believe. I think I've got a really fine needle in there. I think I'm going to change to a leather needle because I've got the pleather. I think a denim needle would be enough if you've got a denim needle. But half the time people have issues sewing these bulky materials. So like, oh, I want a machine that can sew through denim. And it's like, most home machines actually can. Your needle needs to be the correct needle though. I'm going to backtrack. I don't have a leather needle. I thought I had a leather needle. Backtracking, I'm going to put a jeans needle in. There's already holes in it and it's pleather, not leather, so I think it will be fine. Let's use my 116. Oh, that's actually a pretty good match. There we go, we'll do that one. So I've got a recycled brown thread. That can be my top thread. I'm just going to use whatever bobbin thread I've got in my little thing. I've got black, I've got really dark purple. I pinned down the pockets, and first things first is I'm just going to stitch along and without the pleather and stitch down the pockets, because the construction of this, which is not wrong, but they did that all in one and it's just not as strong, so which is why it broke. So to do this, I'm literally going to place the foot like to the edge of the fabric that's at the bottom here, but it's also not cut straight. I will point that out. And there was a very narrow seam allowance where that pleather was attached, which is why it's frayed off. You know what? This is actually a really good repurpose of jeans. If you're wanting to make like a heavy duty, sturdy apron, jeans are fantastic for that. To do the ends, I'm just kind of pulling the pleather towards me so it's flat. It's hard to explain. Right, because this is pleather, I don't want to pin it because it will bruise. So I'm just going to go slowly through my machine, making sure that the new line of stitching, which is going to go over the old line on the pleather, but make sure it's hiding the one that I've just done underneath. Ooh. It's getting stuck to the pleather. Turns out denim needle's going through pleather quite well. I'm now getting up to the problem area where it was shorter, so I just need to make sure I'm pulling that pleather up a little bit just to cover those stitches. Doesn't sound nice, does it? You start to struggle at the end there, and I think that's because the pleather's folded over at the back, so you've got pleather on both sides. Oh look, should have trimmed that off. That was the one I unpicked. Nice, so this should now be all fixed. That one's done. Another thing of his, he's got some Levi's. He's gone through the seat again, so I'm going to show you how to repair a ladder right next to the stitches to keep things going for just a little bit longer. I've already repaired these ones. I think I limit to 2 times I repair it, and then that's it, that pair of jeans is retired. However, we're watching the pennies at the moment, so he might have to keep those going for a little bit longer than he usually would. Quite frankly, he needs to stop squatting in jeans. Levi's, and it's right in his seat, like literally the crotch, that's gone. For me, I think the easiest thing to do is to turn them inside out. You want to use a strong thread, so like a denim thread. I did do a cheap thread on this, which is why it didn't work. If you haven't got a stronger thread, you can double up on your cotton, or what I like to use, embroidery thread. You don't have to match it. You shouldn't actually be able to see this, in theory. I try to match it anyway, just in case. A contrasting thread would make this demonstration a lot easier though, I will say that. It's slightly different blues, but that's a bit more of a denim blue. Right, I am going to use one of my embroidery needles because it's got a bigger eye. So I'm splitting it into 2 different pieces, both 3 strands each. If you're not used to embroidery thread or embroidery floss, they usually come, not all of them, a lot of them though, come as 6 strands like twisted together. It's 2. Have I got 4 there then? Yeah, okay, that's what happened. It decided it didn't like the way I was splitting it, You can add some twists back in. It's not proper spinning or anything like that, but it should give the thread enough strength to do what I'm now doing. Anchor, and then ladder stitch. Now I'm going to pull it right from the base ever so slowly, making sure the ridge is coming up in the middle here. Now, actually what I'm going to do is do it section by section, because apparently I'm really struggling today. I picked it about ½ inch down, one stitch, and I'm just going to give it a little tug from the top down, and then do a couple stitches later, same thing. Focusing on the one side. There's a lot of friction in it today. We've got the outside, there's a little ridge there, which is so near the bit where there's the flap hole seam, I don't think you'd notice it. And then on the outside, you no longer can see a split. There is a little bit of like wrinkling in extra right by the where the seams meet. That's to be expected. No one should see that, because if they're there, they shouldn't be looking. Or it's someone you are very close with. It looks like the seat's also giving out on the other side, so this is the last time I'm fixing these, I think. So I'm just anchoring the other end again in that seam allowance. And there we are. No more hole in the butt. Again, leather. There's nothing actually wrong with these. These are perfectly wearable trousers. But my sister has lost a fair bit of weight. She really likes these trousers, but there's too much bagginess here. So again, I can't actually get all the way through this one today, but there's a fair bit of unpicking, a fair bit of prep to do, and then I can fit it on her. I don't think I'm actually going to see her until Easter, and we are still just February. Basically, take the waistband off. I am debating whether to take it fully off, because there's a lot of work on the front there. So what I probably will do is take it off at the back. Oh, actually the side seams, right. Great, I don't have to take it off all the way. I'm gonna take the back half off. So I'm gonna split out the side seams, take the entire back one off, and then start to split this. Then what I will do, when I fit it to her, I will pinch this back seam in, because that's where it's falling on her side seams perfectly fine. She's got a bit of extra room in the trunk. She's always had that issue. She's got a bigger bootay and a smaller waist, and basically that means she gets that gap on the back of waistbands a lot on her clothes. Actually, a lot of women do, because we don't really make clothes for anything other than straight sizes. And by straight sizes, I don't mean like a set of like numbers. I mean like we do it for very straight up and down women. Tend to make curvy clothes for people who are bigger, but not curvy and thin. Just because you're a bigger size doesn't mean you have more curves. Do you know what I mean? It's some people are bigger built but still quite straight up and down. Some people are slimmer but have boobs and hips and bum. And I get it. Mass producing clothes is it's really difficult to get like everyone's size in there. But this is why I try to avoid like mass produced clothes, or I will only get things that fit me. Yeah, I tailor them to myself. So these I'm tailoring to my sister.
One eternity later.
Clipped them into place. I'm trying to work out how I'm going to do this. I now need to translate this onto the inside and then sew that and reattach the waistband. The waistband will need shortening. Let's see if this works. Oh, where's my double-sided tape? I have that somewhere. So I'm trying to get that curve that I've kind of pinned in there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go find that gold Sharpie if I can. That took too long. I can't find the Sharpie, but I found these things which are chrome markers. Can't repin them, so hopefully it's correct. That's my line at the moment. It's not too bad, but it's gone a bit weird here. It needs to be a bit more acute coming in, so I'm just gonna refine it ever so slightly. Otherwise you're gonna get like a little dip in the seam. It's gonna look weird. That white residue, by the way, is the old double-sided tape. I've bought a colour that matches. It's important because there is top stitching when you attach the band, and I've attached a leather needle. So even with like faux leather, I would use a leather needle. Basically, the difference being most needles are just like a point. Leather needles actually have like a slight blade going up the back of the needle to make it easier. A little bit's coming off because it is a paint pen, but I can't be bothered to let it dry anymore. I can already feel how easy it's gonna be to do this with the leather needle. Yeah. Using the right needle is like 9 times out of 10. If your machine's going weird, it's the needle, usually. The test is to look at on the outside and make sure it doesn't look like wobbly in any way. It's really hard to do this sort of thing without the person to check it constantly, especially as this kind of material bruises, so there's no like, I can make it tighter, I can't do anything else to that seam. But that looks very nice actually. Here is the old seam and up here is the new seam. So it looks, there's no like obvious bulges or lumps or anything like that. So now, where did I put my double-sided tape? Is it in here? Yep, it is. There it is. Double-sided tape. Paper, scissors. So now all I'm going to do is trim the seams, stick them down with double-sided tape. That is honestly what you do. I seriously hope I managed to stay in frame that whole time. That was difficult. These are now done. So I've stitched down the waistband, I finished that last bit by hand. I do have hand leather needle. Again, same principle as the machine one, there's a little blade on it to make it easier. I haven't really filmed any reveals for this stuff and I don't know if I can. Yeah, they are resized. So hopefully my sister is happy with them. Yeah, and the only real difference on the inside, as you can see, this centre seam and the label is now off centre. Harry's left his shoes in my room. These shoes. These are his running shoes. They have a hole in them, but he hasn't worn them down at all. Like, the inside's still pristine as well. Because I really don't want to make welt pockets. I might darn these instead. Interesting angle. You're propped up on my sewing machine, or like leant against it. Pretty good. Is that going to be the right kind of needle? Usually you want a straight needle for darning, but because this is a shoe, I can't manipulate the shape too right. I've got doll needles. They're a new edition. I've not used them before, so that might be interesting. Or I have two different sizes of curved needle. One says mattress and one says like lampshades for fine materials. Would this make more sense? That might make more sense. I think I'm going to do all 6 strands together for strength if I can get it through this eye. Ha, no problem. It's not like straight, so I'm going to kind of go at an angle. All right, I'm going to back stitch, I think, to anchor. I might regret the curved needle. I know some people prefer knotting embroidery floss to start and finish. I've always preferred back stitching. This is why the curved needle. Right, there's like 2 layers to this fabric and I need to go to the point where both layers are in tank still. It's gonna look like I'm overshooting by quite a bit. If you want to see, I think I literally want to do it every hole. I say hole, it's not a hole. It's like the mesh fabric, like Airtex or something. I might have made that term up. Maybe it's Paramesh I'm thinking of. I'm finding this the best angle to film because I've got more light this way. Not film, to sew. Filming, this is a shocking angle, so I'm just going to keep you updated as I go through. So yeah, I've done all the lines that way. I've anchored them quite well around it. Now I'm just going back and forth. But I'll show you when I'm done, I think. Okay, the curved needle was brilliant around these toes bits because I definitely don't think I'd be able to get there, but it's actually really difficult to weave in and out, especially now I'm right near the very end. So I'm going to switch out the curved needle for a straight needle. I don't know which one yet. All finished. So now Harry can go for a run without his toes escaping. Good morning. We've had a bit of a lazy morning today. It is Saturday. We look like we're in our pyjamas, but we're not because it's sunny. It's for once not torrential outside. So we're going to do some dyeing. So we've got our fabric dyes there. The main aim was one particular dress, but I've gone through my wardrobe and found some more stuff with stains or have discoloured and just, you know, we won't wear currently as they are. We've got, I mean, this looks grey. So yeah, that's a, is it my long sleeve top or your long sleeve top?
Yours.
Yours, mine even, and this was yours. Harry's is actually cotton and the dye we have is for synthetic fibres. So this is actually kind of a...
It would not work.
Pardon?
It wouldn't work really, but on the cotton.
Well, it's not meant to work on cotton,
No.
but we're going to give it a go because he's not going to wear it as is. So this is a bit of an experiment, just to see how well the dye does or doesn't take. We didn't buy salt.
Oh.
Damn it.
Well, you have your breakfast and then we'll go get salt.
Yeah, we'll have breakfast, then we'll go get salt. 2 tops.
2 salts.
Everything needs to be clean and it needs to be damp, so it doesn't matter that we're washing this really late. Can we see on camera? Oh, you kind of can. There's kind of yellowish stain. So that's on the butt of this. So obviously not the whole thing. The black will stay black, but thinking of dyeing the trousers, so I'd actually wear it more. They're going in on a hand wash. Do I chuck the dress in to get it wet as well?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, 1 second. Right, this is the dress. It's got kind of like some stains around the bottom, and there is a grease stain on the body, and I know there is. I just can't find it now.
Is this where you decide to leave the dress alone?
No, I really want this dyed. I won't wear it like this. This is because it's kind of grey and dingy now. You can kind of see it's no longer brilliant white.
Yeah.
So
okay.
dyeing it, and also you can see there's kind of discoloration around the neck
And the shoulders.
So yeah, this is the reason why I bought the dye. But I thought whilst we're making the dye baths, might as well chuck some other stuff in there.
Yeah. There is a stain there, because I remember you showing me.
I know there's a stain because I was trying to get it out.
Gaslighting yourself.
Right, we're doing a 15-minute cycle on cold, and we're going to turn down that spin. I'm going to eat breakfast, go get salt, and then probably time lapse it. But yeah, we're just going to be dip dyeing, daffodil yellow, super pink, and what do they call this? Royal purple. We're going for Padme's lake dress kind of vibes. Excited, see how that comes out. Either way, these clothes are discoloured, stained, and quite frankly, I wouldn't wear them as they are. Okay, that was way too much fun. We're definitely going to be doing more of that in the future. What we found interesting is how the different fabrics took to the dyes differently. This is acetate, and it's kind of come out like a pinky, mauvey colour. And I know we dyed it pink and then the purple. We chucked in Harry's, the shirt Harry was actually wearing last second, because obviously it was last second, it was just purple. That's cotton, this is cotton. So this has come out quite bright. This is nylon, which is what it's designed to take, and I really love the gradient on that. I am so pleased with that. And then this is polyester, which is a lot paler, but like still nice. And I think it does say actually, if you're dyeing polyester, you've got to leave it in twice as long as the nylon. But obviously we were working outside in a bucket dip dyeing. If you're doing something solid, then you tend to do it on the stove in a stainless steel pot is what they advise. And you can keep the heat going to keep the dye taking. But yeah, I am really chuffed with how they've come out. So there we have it. Many different ways to fix, mend, alter, change your clothes. So you take something that was unloved and unused, and now you can wear it again. So hopefully this has inspired you to revisit your wardrobe, or go to a thrift store and take something and try and alter it to you, tailor it properly so it's really something you love. And there are other ways. I do a lot of taking jeans, taking them apart and making new garments. And that's also a completely viable way of harvesting secondhand materials and making something new, something you will love. But it's not the only way. And mending really is important to learn as a skill as well. And I did so many different methods in this. You got the visible embroidery, which could be more visible if you chose a different colour, but Harry wanted something a little bit more subtle. Altering clothes, so the shoulder pads or like the change in size, so you can keep wearing something and be a little bit more happy with those items. We had the darning, though, which is a classic, but darning on a shoe, that was very new for me. And then visible mending, which is the original type of mending. At least in the UK, there's so many different types of mending out there, like Sashiko, and obviously things, is it Kanta? Is that another form of mending, like reinforcing worn out saris, I think it was. Is that correct? I might be wrong on that. I might have got the wrong name for that, so don't quote me on that. But there are so many different examples of how to mend and prolong textiles from around the world. And dyeing was so much fun. I didn't expect to enjoy it that much. And there's so much more in the world of dyeing to explore. Like we did dip dyeing, but I could dye something a different colour, just solid colour. You can tie-dye. That was so much fun as a kid. So maybe we'll do some tie-dyeing at some point. And you can also do things with bleach. It's always obviously easy to dye something darker. Not necessarily always, like, you got to think about your colour theory and your undertones and all of that. But dyeing something lighter, you'd need bleach for, and you do need to neutralise it. But I have seen some people do like bleach art on dark clothing where they essentially like draw with the bleach, which was so cool. And I remember when I was a kid, my mum had this dress that she got a bleach stain on it. So she bought the dye to re-dye it, but to get an even base to start with, because it is quite important, she bleached it first and then just loved how it looked in the lighter shade. So she kept it bleached. But yeah, there's so much to explore. So I will definitely be doing more making, do and mending in the future, and particularly dyeing. I had so much fun there. So that was my favourite mending to do, and I really love the dress. It's so much fun, and I will definitely be wearing that a lot more. And even the jumpsuit has got like a bit of a running joke, because I wore it for my 30th birthday and then my sister's 30th birthday, and then youngest sister is turning 30 next year, so I have to wear it for her birthday too. If you enjoyed this video, comment below, let me know what your favourite was, and if that's inspired you to repair some of your clothing, keep it going for a bit longer. Please subscribe and join me again and hobby along with me. Bye. What's in here? Rubbish, great. This is what's weird. I'm in the mood to unpick. You have to strike when the iron is hot. So when the urge of unpicking takes you, go on and unpick all your mistakes, because unpicking is by far the worst part of sewing. Harry's stolen the top down. Where it started and where it's ending are so different. So editing me is going to have a really bad time with this.